So, as I understand it, Patrick, you've got a passion for helping nonprofits and especially libraries. So, for this insight segment, we actually asked some user testing contributors about their library experiences and how they think libraries can improve. So, let's listen along to what they said.
Ever since I was able to walk, I remember going to the library.
I've always had a good experience at the library. It was always magical to me.
But now as an adult, I use my public library again at least once a week for myself and for my own children.
I have always loved the environment of a library. And even now, I do use it to, with my own kids. They get books, and that way I try to pass on the joy of visiting a library.
Closest library to us just got remodeled, so we're using all of those new features. We've used like the 3D printing at the library, so it's come a long way from when I was just a kid checking out some read-along books.
I think it's a place to just really foster and facilitate learning in all subjects and all ages, and never stop learning.
I believe that the role of libraries in the community is probably understated or can't be overstated. There are so many resources. It's not just a place to go and find a good book.
I feel like I'm semi-informed. Like, I don't know everything there is to know.
I think they could educate the community better on the services they provide and examples of how you could use them to the best of your ability.
If they aren't already, I would have to say going out into the public where the people are would maybe be a better way to serve the public.
And I think the other thing would just be like focusing some more programming to like those middle ages. So like there's a ton of programming for seniors and a ton of programming for kids. But there's not a lot of programming for like 20 to 60-year-olds.
So, I certainly agree with the sentiment around libraries being magical places. What did you think about that feedback, Patrick?
Yeah, the feedback tracks a lot with what I've learned in the last decade of working with different libraries. I've worked with, especially around libraries in cities across the US. And, a few things that they mentioned stood out to me. So one is the comment about, spending more time with the community. One of the things that approach that I take with libraries is they obviously spend a lot of time with the public coming into the library, and libraries typically do a lot of quant and do different types of surveys and have a lot of data on, say, circulation of books and other materials. When I work at the libraries, I teach them how to do qualitative research and spend one-on-one time with community members and really understand kind of the lives that are unfolding around them. Libraries are magical places, and they try to help. They're on the front lines of so many different things in the community and improving it. And so the more they can understand really the texture of the lived experiences around them, they're pretty equipped to then turn that into new programs and services to help. And they do so many things beyond the kind of the things that were part of the mission of the libraries in the beginning. And the comment about 20 to 60, what happens in there? Well, the answer is you would be amazed how much libraries are doing for people from ages 20 to 60 around switching careers, dealing with homelessness, things that libraries are hiring social workers, artists. There's so many things that they're doing, and I've really found that giving them new tools from research to be able to go out and tap into the stories or unfolding them around them in the community, that librarians turn that knowledge, those insights, into even better results for the community. So I love working with librarians.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting to hear that perspective. And I think it also brings me back to sort of, some of the sort of early shaping of our industry was library science, right? And sort of this idea of, information architecture, right? And that was sort of born out of this idea of cataloging and organizing, which all really started within library. So
Yeah, that's where I got my start. Was back in the late '90s as an information architect and going to early IA summits,
yes,
and a lot of the skills that I and kind of a lot of the concepts that I from those days I still use today, just in different ways. But yeah, that understanding information environments and how people navigate them is still so much a big part of the work.
yeah, absolutely. Oh gosh, I feel like we could go down into the history of our of our industry for quite some time.